What is going on, guys? Welcome back. Commentary for I've gotten such an influx of subscribers over the past couple months. I don't know if you guys realize that I also host an MMA podcast with former UFC and Bellator commentator Jimmy Smith. In fact, we've done some work together on his channel as well. So I figured I'd throw a video up if it's something you guys are interested in. I'll put a link to the podcast and to Jimmy's channel down in the description. Want to talk about this morning, obviously, UFC 244, Jorge Masvidal, Nate Diaz. Been a big topic the past couple days, and we're learning today from some reports that Nate Diaz may have been flagged for Sarms. Now, if you work out at all, you have any bodybuilding aspirations, Sarms actually kind of took pro hormones out of favor a few years ago because Sarms is kind of seen as a less side effect ridden, more upside potential than actually taking a steroid or a testosterone booster. And of course, all of this is just your personal preference or how you view these things. I know there's a lot of people that are sternly against things like this, and then there's people that are really in favor of that, based, I really think, mainly on how you plan or if you plan on using them. So Sarms is actually selective androgenic receptive modulators. Sounds very complex, but basically all it does is tell your androgen receptors to express, whether that's synthesizing protein or recovering, basically just helping you build muscle in many cases. Essentially what steroids do, but on a very lower level. It's interesting to me that generally you also see these taken in a pill form or a dropper form in lower milligrams. In some cases, maybe only 20 a day, sometimes split through the day, depending on which one you're taking. You may actually run them maybe 5 and 2, so you're not taking them every single day. But anyone that has taken them also knows, they're meant to be stacked and they can react with you in different ways. You really have to know your body, and you have to know what your goal is to actually properly select what you're going to take and how you're going to take it. And when you look at it that way, no UFC fighter, in my opinion, is going to be trying to, recomp their body. Okay, they're probably going to be trying to improve endurance, build muscle, and I think it's safe to say that's probably, if what is actually tested came back, what you could expect a UFC or any fighter, for that matter, to try to be doing. It's not an expensive product either, but it's certainly not something that's going to be just, kind of funneled into a multivitamin or a food. So just to go through what I was talking about when I said, you have to know your goals and you have to know your body. There's not just one, Sarms. You don't just pick up a bottle that says Sarms and start taking it. There's multiple, variants of it, and they all kind of react differently. So, for example, MK677 is known to have a hunger issue. So you may not experience it if you take it, but someone else may. So traditionally, somebody taking MK677 would stack that with some type of hunger suppressant. For example, if you were to take RAD 140, which is probably the most common, you may see the benefits but not have all the actual side effects someone else may, perhaps like anxiety or sleeplessness. If you combine this, with any type of recreational drug use, that's also going to really impact how it affects your body as well. So it's interesting that something like that would come out and they would tie it to a food or a multivitamin because, as I said, the price difference, even though depending on what you're purchasing or the milligram or the dosage you're purchasing, may not be traditionally nearly as expensive as what you would expect a steroid to be, it's certainly something that you're not going to find in a Whole Foods vitamin pack because, as I alluded to in the beginning, we don't have that long-term testing. So the liability of a vitamin company putting any form of Sarms into a pill, knowing that it has no long-term testing, no matter what they may disclose on the label, would do two things. One, it would really open them up to a major lawsuit for putting in what could be viewed as even a testosterone booster to a product that maybe a female may take and have, adverse side effects to. It would really also not be cost effective for them because naturally they're putting something that's much more expensive than necessary into a product that's promoting something in terms of muscle gain or endurance gain that it may not even need to provide if we're just talking about a multivitamin. But lastly, it could also have a really adverse side effect. So if it's going to give someone anxiousness, restlessness, increase their appetite, those are all things that would make someone not want to take a vitamin or a supplement again unless they know off the bat, hey, this could give you hunger. This could give you anxiety. This could give you restlessness. So it's interesting that all those things may be counterintuitive to you wanting to purchase a product again, but we're kind of being led to think this is what he failed for and this is what he could have been taking. Regardless, it's a very odd topic to discuss because, like I said, it is something that's just so out of left field for what we've known Nate to be about. I personally would want to have a lot more done in terms of the testing and try to have a better understanding of what they flagged this for or how it was found. I'm assuming generally this is going to be found through a urine test, but we really don't have a lot of answers other than thankfully it would appear the fight is back on and his name has been cleared. But certainly at some point you also have to understand this test will follow him for a substantial amount of time, right or wrong. I would assume as a fan of his that it is wrong, but there are just as many that are not a fan of his that assume it is right. And that's kind of the tragic side of this when these test results come out and we start to make assumptions about what was taken, how it was taken, and most importantly, why it was taken. Apart from that, love to know your thoughts on this. Appreciate you checking out, and I will be back very shortly with more commentary.